Hello and welcome to another episode of Triumph Against Odds, where we speak to amazing leaders who talk about, how resilient their businesses are despite economic challenges. On today's episode, we have someone who stepped out of conventional banking and moved into non-interest banking. He moved into a field that is still new to a lot of people, but he has made it his own. Him and his co-founder made it their own, and they are making a huge difference, making an impact not just in one part of the country, but across the nation. With me today is Mr. Hamid Joda of TAJBank, co-founder and CEO. I hope you stay tuned as we go right into the interview. Thank you. It's nice to meet you, sir. Like I told you earlier, to be honest, it's a pleasure meeting you. You've been warm, welcoming. I'm guessing for me, I believe that's one of the reasons why you're a leader. Being warm and welcoming is a very big attribute for leadership. So the first question I want to ask is, how did you growing up across diplomatic postings and schooling in northern Nigeria, how did it shape the kind of leader you became?
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much for coming. It's truly an honor to be on the show. Growing up in the North was an interesting experience. My father was in the diplomatic service of the federal government of Nigeria, but my father took an early retirement. So when he retired, he settled in Kaduna in the North, and that's where I grew up. At least I did my primary school. And it was an interesting experience because at that time, the economy in Kaduna State was a bit vibrant, and I had a very interesting childhood. And it was a very cosmopolitan city at that time. So in my primary school, we had kids from different backgrounds. And of course, the experience that my father had in the foreign service, moving from one country to another, also helped in shaping the kind of person I am. And I think the most important aspect of it is accepting people without necessarily placing emphasis on where they come from, tribe, religion, and so on and so forth. So just accept people for who they are. Human beings are human beings. And so I think that's the most important value. And it's a value, an attribute that I hold till today. So, and I think it has helped in terms of shaping the kind of person I am. Because when I finished my university, I came to Lagos. I got a job, started in Lagos. And it was also a very interesting experience because in the bank I started, in fact, that was City Express Bank. I was the only person who could speak Hausa. So it was an interesting experience. But because I'm so used to diversity, so it was an interesting experience. And that also shaped the kind of career that I've had to today. So very interesting experience, very interesting childhood. From Kaduna, we moved to Yola. So it shaped my childhood in terms of what I've just said, which is accepting people for who they are and not necessarily looking at differences.
You mentioned working in banks. What are some of the lessons you've learned from your past experience in finance, and how did you apply them in non-interest banking?
The experience has been quite interesting, I would say. Very eventful years. One of the turning points of my career was when I was working in Savannah Bank. And I don't know if you remember what happened to Savannah Bank. One day on a Monday morning, we went to work and we heard that the license was revoked. So it was a turning point. And the Friday before the closure, we had our jobs, we were doing quite well. And then on Monday, the bank was closed down. So it was, we had to go back into the labor market and start looking for jobs and all that. And of course, customers lost funds, and it was a very painful experience. So I think that kind of shaped the person I later became in my career and learned to be very careful and knew that a bank could fail, and failure of a bank could be very catastrophic and devastating for families. I know families that had funds in Savannah Bank and the bank was closed down with their money trapped. I know people who sold houses, who all kinds of things. I know traders who lost funds in that bank, and that was the end of their trading businesses and so on. So it was really an important experience to run a bank professionally, so that you don't run into crises and you don't prompt situations where the bank would be vulnerable and the bank would crash. So I think that experience became a turning point in my career journey.
When you reflect on your switch from conventional to non-interest banking, do you see it as a professional pivot or a personal calling?
Well, I would see it as both professional and personal, because I've always, to an extent, had interest in non-interest banking, but I've also had the burning desire to set up a bank, because when I started my career, I saw some bankers, some very successful bankers. You talk about Tedo Peterside, Jimovia, Tony Elumelu. They set up banks and they were very successful, and that kind of inspired me. And I felt that one day I could also, step into that kind of role. So that burning desire has always been there. And then at a point, I was in First City Monument Bank. I was the head of public sector. And then during the Buhari regime, the government took a decision to return public sector funds to the central bank. So as head of public sector, I felt that my job was threatened, and I felt I didn't want to continue in the bank anymore or go to another role. So I started the journey of setting up TAJBank. That was when I said, okay, this is it. This is time to go and do it. So that was when we started the journey. So at that time, it was extremely difficult raising the capital and for people believing you. I was just an assistant general manager. Yeah, so I was not an executive director. I had never run a bank, but there I was trying to convince people that I could do it, that I could, set up a bank and run it successfully. So not many people believed. Just a few people believed and came on the journey with us. And thank God we were able to succeed. So it was a person. So I saw an opportunity in non-interest banking. And I felt that the demand was there. There was pent-up demand for it. People were yearning for it. And I felt that if we did it properly, if we brought in professionalism into it, and if we brought in our experiences, our various experiences from various backgrounds into it, that it could succeed. And thank God, after about 6 years, we've not been proven wrong. So I think it's a mix of professional and personal.
Okay, yeah. So you TAJBank started around COVID and all of that. I'm sure definitely based on the fact that the world literally shut down, and this must have affected trying to start during this tough period. Mm-hmm. How were you not able to? Despite all the challenges of COVID and everything that happened, mm-hmm. you still pushed through. What gave that determination to push through despite everything?
Okay, thank you very much. So in our TAJBank journey, it's been a journey of extreme difficulty, from trying to convince people to invest in the project, to applying for banking license at the central bank. And for those who have passed through central bank to obtain banking license, they know how thorough and how difficult the process is. So after that, we got our license. We started in December, the 2nd of December. And then COVID came. When COVID came, it was like a joke, and then nobody ever thought for 1 minute that the world would be shut down. So we started, in fact, at that time, some of our staff were expatriates, so they just came into the country. And of course, like I said, we started in December. Running, baby steps. All of a sudden, the world shut down completely. And the challenge was how do we pay salaries? That became a major challenge because we were running expenses. Anyway, expenses in terms of salaries, that was there. And we were paying expatriates and we were under lockdown. We were not generating anything in terms of revenue. So it was a very, very difficult experience. And for several weeks, we were all at home. And after, I think 4 weeks or so, 4 or 5 weeks, I can't remember, the market opened up, the federal government opened up, and we started running. And lo and behold, by the 9th month of business, we broke even. Because we were very, very determined. And we went all the way by the time it was the world opened, working day and night until we achieved break even. And from then on, we've been consistently profitable.
That is so amazing. You didn't, when the world shut down, you didn't pack up, or you were thinking, what do I do? How Absolutely. Do I manage? What do I say?
Yeah, and it was also a good time to reflect on the future, to reflect on our strategies, and to really also, and you know, it's I believe as a businessman, it's good to go into difficulty because difficulty shapes the man you later become. You build resilience. Yes. Yeah.
What part of growing TAJBank required more patience than you expected?
Okay, I think the part that required more patience is dealing with regulators. Don't forget that when we started, we were not executives. And to be honest with you, you need to be an executive to really understand 360 degrees the regulatory environment. Yes, so banking is a highly regulated business. And when we came in, I think we were still fresh. So the understanding of the regulations was, I think, a challenge. And where your power stops is where the regulator's power starts. So we needed to, moderate ourselves and be very patient and also understand the regulatory environment better. And I tell you why. Because non-interest banking is different. It's on another tangent. You need to obtain several kinds of approval. If it's conventional banking, it's just one approval. But if it's non-interest banking, there are several layers of approval. For instance, after the central bank, you also have an independent board, an independent advisory committee of experts that need to vet all your approvals. And of course, they don't sit on daily basis, they sit on quarterly basis. So when you take your approvals, sometimes they are too busy, they may not consider it until the next approval period. So getting approvals is always kind of a big challenge. But I'm happy that the regulators are very, very supportive. Very, very supportive. I must commend them for that. For them to have created such a robust environment. And things are beginning to run faster. So I think that aspect really it's one that really required more patience.
So since you've gone far and everything, what would you try with TAJBank or with your life if you weren't afraid of failure? If you aren't afraid of failure, is there something you've not tried that you have tried now? Or you try now?
No, for me, I've always had an entrepreneurial spirit. Before I came into Taj, I set up other businesses. Those businesses, some of them thrived, some of them didn't thrive, but that didn't deter me. Yeah, so I think I have entrepreneurship in my blood. So, so even if I hadn't set up that, maybe I would have gone into some other business. But I'm not one to really sit and take things easy. I'm a very adventurous person. Yeah.
So, if the next 5 years of TAJBank were a chapter in
Yes.
your biography, what would the title be?
I would call it a journey of resilience.
A journey of resilience.
Yes, a journey of resilience, because I think the bank has been very resilient. Because we've gone through several economic cycles. Don't forget that during the last administration, we had COVID, and then we had a recession, and then we came out of the recession, the economy started growing, and also this administration, when they came in, there was so much, there was a lot of, I would call it in the first year upheavals, but now a lot of things have stabilized in terms of, so many challenges along the way. And well, it's part of life. There will always be challenges. And if you understand, yes, and if you understand how economies work, economies go in cycles, boom and bust, boom and bust, boom and bust. Yeah, so that's how it is. Even in the US, they've had, the Great Depression in the 1920s. They've had the global meltdown, so the economy went down, picked up. So the same thing in Nigeria. So, but for us, it's been very difficult, and adjusting to a lot of difficulty. But now, we thank God that the economy is beginning to pick up again. And now that the economy is picking up, so we'll ride the wave. Yes, so the journey of resilience.
Okay, so based on this journey of resilience, what legacy are you trying to build beyond profit?
Yes.
And how will you know that you've succeeded?
Okay, I think a number of issues. One is to correct the perception that non-interest banking is only for Muslims. Yes, so it's a very wrong impression. Non-interest banking is for everyone. It's for people from various backgrounds. It's for human beings. That is just the best way to put it. It's for human beings. And that is the kind of legacy I want to leave. That is number one. The second is also to create opportunities for young Nigerians. Today, one of the major challenges in Nigeria is employment. Yeah, so the unemployment rate, as we know, is very, very high. So how can you create jobs as an entity? By direct jobs, which means TAJBank recruiting people, and of course, indirect jobs. How do I mean? Funding businesses that thrive, that succeed, and create more employment opportunities. That is one thing I've seen in terms of impact that TAJBank has made in the industry, because I know a lot of businesses that came to us when they were very small, and we nurtured them. Today, they have employed so many young people, and that is very heartwarming, and all across the country. So, and then the third legacy that I want to leave is also impact in society. How can we make impact? How can we nurture businesses? How can we grow people? How can we develop people? How can we create an environment where an institution such as TAJBank rises and then uplifts a lot of people from poverty or from just the base level to success?
So, next question. This question has been close to my heart to ask you because it raises a lot of curiosity. You mentioned wanting Nigeria to become a reference point, like Malaysia.
Yes.
For Islamic banking. What will it take for us to get there?
Okay. Well, if you look at the Malaysian experience, there is a lot of government involvement in it. Like in Malaysia, the government was deliberate, and successive governments have been deliberate in terms of promoting non-interest banking. And today, Malaysia has become a hub. In fact, the industry is almost 50-50 in terms of asset size. And the government made a deliberate attempt to say, we have to, and just set a target to say by 2023, I think, I'm not sure, the industry must be 50-50 in terms of assets. Conventional banks having 50%, non-interest banks having 50%. And they came out with a lot of policies and initiatives to drive it. So I think government has a role to play. But if you look at Nigeria, I think the central bank, well, they've done very well. I must commend them, because when they introduced the new capital requirement, where a national conventional bank was pegged at 200 billion, they pegged non-interest banking at 20. So I think that's an advantage, and that's a step in the right direction to encourage more players to come into the industry. And with that, I think today there are about 3 more banks coming on stream, 3 more non-interest banks. So gradually, we'll get there. But I think the most important thing is government support.
Let me expose my ignorance.
Okay.
Every time I'm coming to work, I see a big signboard that is written Sukuk.
Okay.
I always thought Sukuk was the name of a company. To be honest. So I'm just telling you how speaking to you is revealing the importance of non-interest banking and how it also affects, you mentioned government.
Yes.
So outside of giving banks giving non-interest banks the opportunity, when it comes to the capitalization and all of that.
Yeah.
They are also taking bonds.
Yes, absolutely.
And all of that from non-interest.
Absolutely.
So I think that is, I think based on what you've said, I think we'll get there. Step by step.
Gradually, yeah. If you look at the Sukuk issuances, when we started, it was a bit controversial. But today, people drive on Sukuk roads.
I drive on Sukuk road.
Yes, yeah. So we've all driven on Sukuk roads, and we've seen the positive impact of Sukuk. And also, I believe private sector players would also issue Sukuks. For instance, TAJBank just issued its second Sukuk, and it's been massively oversubscribed. And when we issued our Sukuk, we deployed the money into high impact sectors. We funded factories, we funded a lot of initiatives that created a lot of jobs. We funded, there is a detergent factory we funded here in Lagos, in Lekki. We've also funded some rice mills across the country. So high impact long-term projects, that's what we've done. And I believe that's what non-interest is really revealing, that it's really high impact.
Okay, so on a lighter note, what hidden talent do you have that the world doesn't know about? And how do you relax when you're not running a bank?
I can't remember any hidden talent.
So
to be honest.
So how do you relax when you're not running a bank? Because you can't just work. You have to rest at some point. Wind down to wind up.
To be very honest, what gives me joy is work.
Oh my God. Honestly, we need to help you find it.
Believe me or not, wherever I am in the world, whatever I'm doing, the moment I just don't feel very happy if I'm outside the office. But the moment I step into the office, I just come alive.
You're a rare human being.
When I'm not working, I'm still thinking of work. Mm-hmm. So it gives me the greatest joy. Coming to the office every morning, addressing the challenges, and so that's what makes me happy. I tried. There was a time I registered at the golf club. I went there once, twice. I just lost interest. I just got bored and left. So my life
it wasn't challenging enough for what you were.
No. It wasn't really stimulating enough. So I think my life is just built around
work. No, it's fine because there are people like that.
Yes.
And it makes sense because you run a company. So
yes, absolutely.
So finally, what's the one thing that you wish someone had told you before you tried to build a bank from scratch?
Well,
the
I
one
wish
thing
someone had told me it was really difficult.
that you wish you wish somebody had told you that
it was really challenging. It was really, I wish someone had told me, look, building a bank from scratch and starting from ground zero and raising capital. I wish someone had told me how difficult it was. Maybe I would have said, no, I don't want this stress. Let me just be an employee.
but funny enough, you're doing a great job at it.
Yeah,
You're
thank
doing
God.
a great job.
Thank you very much.
I'm happy with how far you've come.
Thank you.
And my personal prayers is that you keep growing.
Yeah.
You keep impacting lives.
Thank you very much.
And keep making a difference. Because for me, what's the point of being alive if you're not making a difference?
Absolutely.
That's why God brought all of us together in this world to help each other.
Absolutely.
So it only makes sense.
It only makes sense. It only makes sense.
Thank you so much.
Is very bright.
Thank you so much for featuring our podcast. It was an honor having you.
Yeah, you're welcome. It was an honor coming on the program.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
So, folks, there you have it. If you want to know more about non-interest banking, you can know where the nearest TAJBank is, or you can reach out to me. I can give you more information. But while we wait for that, stay tuned for more episodes. And as we say at Triumph Against Odds, don't stop being resilient. Thank you.